Is anybody out there?
Mark Radcliffe. 1FM. Oh, yes.
Up to cast his cynical eye.
How am I supposed to follow that?
Just pick it up, pick it up.
Okay.
Now listen,
I haven't got a cynical eye anymore. I've had it. I went to the optometrist or whatever they're called, and the cynic's been cut out of my eye.
So is this your first trip to Glastonbury?
First Glastonbury, and I'm absolutely blown away, as I'm sure they say in these circumstances, by the whole experience, and you know, the vibe is cooking, and I expect.
He's a sun god, man. He's a sun god.
Well, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm enjoying it.
He's getting there. I mean, like, whenever I've rarely seen you without the full brilliantine quiff on, and like today you've got like not only a sort of 3/4 way round the back baseball cap, but you have got one of these resplendent sunflowers, but perched on top of your head.
But that was because Julian made me wear it.
Yeah, but you went for it, didn't you? I mean, you know.
Well, what are you gonna, it's Julian Cope. What are you going to say? No.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, I wish I'd thought of that earlier on. If only we'd been on air a few hours ago.
So you've been down here like just a few hours, so...
yeah.
You know, what have you found out so far that's to your interest?
I've just been reading the site information, and it's a bit like those serving suggestions you used to do.
Yeah.
There's some quite obvious information here. Like, one is, like, here's a headline of, like, it says, fires, ... you know, so you get a little pause here.
Right.
Are dangerous. So there's a bit of a tip there for people who are maybe coming to Glastonbury for the first time who wouldn't have known that before.
Right, yeah.
And water, drink it, wash in it.
Yeah.
A couple of tips for people who maybe haven't been near water. I'll tell you what, there were a lot of fires though, because I was going around the site at about 6 o'clock, and I think people just come to Glastonbury to start fires. You know, I think it's like some sort of arsonist convention, because the sun was beating down and everything, and people were just running around and picking up wood and, you know, throwing it onto other fires and going crazy with it.
Right. Now you've been checking through. Apart from being a fabulous music festival, you've got all the kind of top comedy attractions there, haven't you? Some real interesting, quirky cabaret acts.
Yep. Simple Minds. Yeah. The Cure, Gene.
Right, okay.
They're all on.
So that's a taste from the Comedy Centre as well. Mark Lamarr will be back a bit later on.
Are they stretch marks on your belly? I'm talking to Julian, by the way, not Mark, because he's scrawny, obviously.
No, well, I'm covered up.
Are they
but while they discuss Julian's stretch marks over there, we've also got standing out, we're in this little porter cabin, where it's relatively warm because of Julian and Mark's body heat from the pulsating fluorescent limiter about it.
Can I get to the bottom of these scars? Have you done some sort of Indian tribal ritual thing? Because if you have, it just makes it look like you've got stretch marks, and it hasn't worked. Which is it, Julian? Just give us a definitive answer.
Hammersmith Palais, like in 10, 11 years ago.
He's turned into Margie Clark. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
When I was on stage, I cut my belly open.
So there you go. All right, that's the definitive answer. He cut his belly open. Anyway, what I was trying to say before we went into that bit of medical interest. Long time. That's Arabella Churchill. Now, before we go any further, people always pick up on the name. Let's get this out of the way. Churchill, what relation to Winston?
He was my grandfather.
Right, okay, then. You never managed to get any of the other Churchill clan down to the festival, then?
No.
No? So, what was it like in June 71? How different is it to what you see today?
Oh, it was very different. It was lovely. It was completely uncommercial back then.
Yeah.
We put on the festival for free, and all sorts of traders arrived, and drug dealers and everybody, all planning to make a killing, and they were all just so amazed by the fact it was so free and everybody was so gorgeous, so they were all giving things away left, right and centre. Right. It was really nice.
And who was on that year? Who was playing?
There was Bowie, and there was Melanie, and there was Hawkwind and Pink Fairies.
And Traffic, were they on that?
Traffic were there.
Right, yeah.
Was it Fairport Convention? Yeah, Fairport Convention. It was lovely.
I think they've been on every year, haven't they, Mark?
I think that's about right, yes.
So, what was it? Was it sort of immediately a sort of seductive site to do it in? What was so special about it in the early days that made it so successful so early on?
I think it started just because 71 was so special. It was done with such a very special spirit. It was real hippie days still.
Right.
And everybody was very idealistic. And I mean, Michael Levis, who runs it and is the farmer who owns the land, wonderful guy. He doesn't do it for money. All the people who work at the festival do it for much less than they would other jobs. All the performers perform for much less. There's a very special feeling to it. You do it because you want to do it, not because it's your job, really.
Right. I suppose, like, people do kind of look back with rose-tinted specs and think, oh, you know, that was the true age of the free festivals, and people will always say it's become commercialised and it's 70 quid a ticket and all that.
But it's still wonderful. In actual fact, I mean, 65 for the ticket is actually, when you look at a one-day pop event, it makes it very cheap.
Yeah.
The parking is free, the camping is free. I mean, just in my areas, the theatre and circus fields, I'm putting on more than 1,000 shows over the weekend.
Yeah.
This is not just a pop festival. It's
Sure.
a fantastic kids area, there's a green area. It's really not that expensive. expensive. And also the nice thing is the money doesn't go to the promoter. A lot of money goes to Greenpeace and to Oxfam and to a lot of local charities.
And I suppose if it was like too expensive, people wouldn't buy it, would they? But people have been clamouring for tickets. It's been sold out for weeks.
We ran out of tickets about 4 weeks ago. It's crazy. Apparently they're changing hands at about £200 a hit at the moment.
Yeah, I know. Is it as big as it can get now?
I think, in actual fact, that the site could fit more than the number that we are legally allowed to have by the district council. We obviously have an enormous amount of jumpers who jump over the fence. Yeah. But I actually also think that 70% of those jumpers would be quite happy to pay if there were tickets. Yeah. So I actually think that the council should allow us to have a few more thousand people, and we could commit, say, 60% of that money to really upping the health and safety and making the festival even better.
I heard, talking about the jumpers, I heard about a few people who used to come in the early days, and just to sort of, they've still got that idealistic spirit. They bought tickets, but they jumped over the fence anyway, just to see if they still could. Just for the hell of it. You know, we had a ticket just in case. I mean, it got off to such a great start in 71, but then there was a big gap of 8 years. Why was that? It was nothing till 79.
I think we all went on to doing other things, really. And then a lot of us got back together in 79 and thought we'd run one, and we absolutely blew it. It was run by committee.
Right.
Steve Pillage and Mick Kett and me and Bill Harkin and John Coleman. Right. And there were too many spoons and too many chiefs, not enough Indians. We spent much money and we didn't charge nearly enough money. It was £5 for the weekend.
Right.
And we went down about £49,000, which doesn't sound like a lot now, but it was a hell of a lot then.
Yeah.
And after that, nobody really felt like it the next year.
Yeah.
And then in 81... Michael very sensibly gathered it all under him, and he's a totally beneficial autocrat. You know, he has the final say on everything. It's great.
Right.
And since that first year when he did it for CND, he made 20,000 that first year, and it's just gone on making nicely. I mean,
this is my third Glastonbury, and the weather's always been fantastic, you know. And when people say, "What's it like at Glastonbury?" I say, "Oh, you know, it's incredibly seductive. It's great. You must go and everything." But I mean, having said that, I've never been here in the rain and the mud. I mean, you must have seen a few of those mud baths and quagmires.
Oh, indeed. I mean, we've had 4 years on the trot now of really hot weather, but we've had some damp years, and we've had some very, very wet years.
Yeah.
1985 was an absolute stunner. It was. I think it rained from start to finish, really. And it rained so much, actually, that everybody really rose to the occasion, and it became a joke, and people took it really very well. At that stage, the theatre field was in what's now the kids' field, which has quite a slope.
Yeah.
And my outside performers were literally, I was sliding down the hill as they were performing, and people were rolling in the mud, and I had a lovely puppeteer who... He'd go and perform from inside the loos, because the loos were so perfectly awful. And everybody was just in remarkably good spirits, considering how hellish it was.
Right.
I nearly got trench foot. My feet were sort of permanently wet.
But you can still feel spiritual and all that, even when you got trench foot.
People were very happy. It was still a nice festival despite everything.
And what about now then? I mean, you're not so much organised with the music, it's all the cabaret and theatre that you're doing, isn't it?
I run the two theatre fields and the circus field.
Yeah.
I'm not really involved in the music at all. It's not my thing.
And you've got a big parade planned for the weekend.
Oh, we got a lot of stuff. We've got some stunning shows all over the weekend, but our big event is sort of 25th anniversary celebrations, and we've got this enormous parade going through the site on Saturday night, and then bringing lots of punters back and converging on one of the theatre fields where we have, among other things, a 120-foot high burning rope pyramid and a 70-foot silver pyramid coming up, and scores of fire swingers and stilt dancers, and it's going to be a corker.
Right, okay, because I mean, that is what people forget. There are people who come to Glastonbury, to the festival, and don't watch any bands, do they, at all, you know, as you say.
A lot of people do actually stay in our area.
Yeah. All right, well, best of luck with the parade, and thanks for talking to us.
Thanks a lot.
From 1981, when they appeared at the festival, these are New Order.
Having a slash there. That's one that I'll write in my memoirs.
Yeah,
I was at Glastonbury night, the 25th anniversary, when Mark Radcliffe went for a slash.
Yeah.
So we're doing one of those legendary big Glastonbury cheer moments.
Well, I think that's what you had in mind, wasn't it?
If anyone's listening to the radio at Glastonbury now, I'll count to three.
Well, on the campsites, you mean?
Yeah,
right.
No, not at home. We won't hear them, will we?
Yeah, right.
But so I'll count to three, and we want everyone that's at Glastonbury listening to the radio, which I think will be none.
But it doesn't count these people round here. No, it doesn't count you.
Obviously, you're listening. You're stood next to us, but the people listening to the radios, that's the point of this whole radio shenanigan.
Okay, we'll try.
So after three, 1, 2, 3.
Dave Palmer!
Just Dave Palmer.
Just Dave Palmer. Dave Palmer was the only one. Right, well, moving swiftly. John Peel's here. How are you, John?
That was a tactic that we introduced at Reading 3 or 4 years ago when you and I did a programme.
I said that to Mark before.
There was one lonely cry from out on the car park.
There was.
Was it Dave Palmer?
It may have been Dave. It was certainly an intensely moving
That's right. We did a program for Little House on the Prairie, didn't we? Backstage at Reading.
Very moving.
So, Glastonbury for you, is it kind of a deeply spiritual and moving experience?
It certainly is, yes. And I've had a most interesting day. A lot of driving, and they have a most peculiar backup system. Given that this is the biggest festival in Europe or the world or whatever it is, the backup system, if you don't get a vehicle pass, is absolutely extraordinary. I'll tell you what it is as quickly as I can. You go to a certain nameless town in this area, right? You have to find your way, have to park your car in the municipal car park, find your way into the centre of town. There's a children's bookshop there, and you go into the children's bookshop, into the room at the back, and say, I think you've got a vehicle pass for Mr. Peel. That's the backup system, which I think is rather charming.
It's very Glastonbury, isn't it?
It's very Glastonbury indeed, and it works, of course.
So what are you doing, apart from your radio show and minding a caravan full of people?
Yeah, well, I'm a man of many parts. I'm doing a spot of comparing on the NME stage, because this is I get paid in tickets for my children, you see. So,
right.
And, of course, doing my fabulous Radio 1 programmes from this very same vehicle.
Right, OK.
That's it.
All right.
Has it changed at all since, like, you were at the first one, weren't you?
What, the vehicle? Oh,
how's the vehicle?
It's a bit damp round the back right now.
No, because I had a drive through today, and there are people that I'm sure are still waiting for Jim Morrison to turn up. People that were probably here at the first one and have had no change whatsoever.
I think they've been here. Yeah, they've been here. They never leave the side. They just
really?
move into the trees.
Julian's getting...
Yeah, I know. Right. All right, John. Well, we go back over there now, which means nothing, is it? Because you can't see where we're going. But we've come outside, and what's that hat you've got on, Julian Cope?
It's a Snoopy hat on backwards.
A Snoopy hat on backwards, right. And you're here in your fluorescent pants and everything. I mean...
I'm surrounded by lights, so I'm really warm.
Well, I know, but you can always fit in, because last time I saw you on Top of the Pops with a big shirt and no pants on, weren't you?
That's true.
And that looked really dapper, I thought. I might go for that look a bit later on. And then if I need to nip round the back, like further, I won't even have to undo my pants, will I? That'd be really good.
I've got a posse in the car.
Have you? Well, let's not take it too far, eh?
That can't be used very often in a rap record, can it?
I can't say as I noticed that. Actually, I'm not big on the Andrews system.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm not big on the Andrews sisters. I haven't got all their records.
No, fair enough then. Right. Anyway, you've been glancing through... This is your first time here, though, isn't it? I mean, what were your initial impressions? Because I remember the first time I came, I just couldn't believe the size of it, really.
But did you not... The journey down, didn't you sort of think, oh, no, you know, hippies in a field kind of thing? That's what I thought. And then as soon as I got here, it did check. Because I was in Paris last week, which is where, you know, all the rude people of Europe congregate to have a go at the English, basically.
Yeah.
And it's just such a change to come from somewhere like that and to come here where everyone's smiling and polite and pleasant and stuff.
And you can walk around, like, you know...
I'm an outcast,
well, yeah, definitely. I mean, like, there you are sitting with this sunflower on your head and walking around and, like, everybody says, nice hat, you know. It's like...
Yeah, they do. In fact, well, let's just put that in perspective, because that happened to you.
Well, it did.
When you had your big court jester's hat on earlier on.
Court jester's hat, which don't quite slip over the top of my headphones there, but this is an attractive piece of headgear, I'm sure you'll agree. What about comedy at these things, though? I mean, like, have you played here, or do you play the festival
I've
circuit?
played Reading a few years ago, and I'm playing the Phoenix this year. And in fact, you know, again, it's one of those gigs that you get to and you think, oh, this is just, I'm just doing this for the money. But they are always fantastic gigs. Yeah. And a lot of people, I picked up two hitchhikers today, and they said they'd been before and watched the bands, but this year they can't be bothered. Yeah. And they're just going to hang out and, you know, catch up on the vibe, I believe, is the
vibe
that is normally used. I've been reading again through this sort of the information guide, and the whole fire's a dangerous bit that I mentioned earlier. It's got this great quote, and I think it just sort of hopes that a lot of people are really stoned and they'll believe whatever's written in it. It says, "Don't cut wood from trees and hedges; it won't burn anyway." So where does that, like, non-burning wood come? Where does the burning wood come from? Did, like, badgers make it or something? You know, I would have thought that trees would have been the prime source of wood that would burn. I
mean, you don't strike me as one of, like, I mean, as you said, you're not one of life's natural festival goers, or even one of life's natural campers, are you? Really?
No, but you know, there's probably the reason that you enjoyed it, and I'm going to enjoy it this time, is that we're not staying on the site and we're not camping out.
Well, no. I mean, would you do that though? Would you be tempted to come back to Glastonbury and stay in a buckskin teepee?
I've done too much camping as a young man, as a kid, you know, because I remember when my dad bought the big old tent for the whole family and stuff. And I remember the bloke putting it up in the back garden and showing him and keep saying, look, you see, piece of cake. This was like the first time I'd ever heard the expression piece of cake. Yeah. Said it about 100 times, and it was the least like a piece of cake I've ever seen. It was just a lot of hard graft, and we never worked out how to do it again, really. And have you been shopping at all? Because there's, like, in lots of stores, they might find some wild musk brill cream or some aromatherapy ylang brilliantine. There are a lot of those kind of sort of new age stalls where all the sort of chillums are made by young Peruvian boys, and they're, you know, a bargain at £50. There is a lot of that kind of stuff, but I haven't really had a good look around. I've just sort of passed by. In the traditional festival ritual of going to the toilet on the back of someone's van.
There's so many. I'm surprised this truck's not sliding down the hill. There's so many people been for a slash right on the back.
It was very conspicuous as well. If you can imagine a man in a bright yellow fluorescent cagoule with a Snoopy hat on backward, going to the toilet at the back, and people walking past going, who's that? And others going, Julian Cope, stupid. Who else would it be?
Right. And he's got no shoes on, have you, Julian?
No, he has now. He's got slippers.
Oh, has he? He has
got some slippers on.
Right.
You know, John, I've always reading, like, John Peel's memories of sort of great Glastonburys, and he talks about the golden days of playing football with Mark Bowen and stuff. So, Julian, just so I can have a Glastonbury memory, will you have a go of football with me?
No.
Okay.
Right, well, Mark Lamarr and Julian Cope are still... And Mark, are you still...
I still can't get over Julian's dancing. I've never seen anything like it. And I mean that in a complimentary manner. But it was like, yeah, not only are you fit, but it's so original. There was like, there was a bit of sort of Indian war dance, bit of rain dance. There was a bit of that acorn growing into a tree kind of business. There was even some shake and vac in there, I think.
And put the freshness back.
It's made me feel well horny.
You should make you should get like a partner and make some of those sort of Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers films with you know, just suddenly going mental in the middle for half an hour.
Baker Gervit's Army, Ginger Baker, is that what he's talking about? Ginger Baker?
Quite possibly. Who knows? Anyway, before you go, Julian, can I just say thank you very much for this luminous lollipop lady
I'd have
brought him
up another one.
When I put it there in my lucky mask.
It's the fluorescent scene all the way down the line.
So, I mean, obviously, like, everybody knows that you're keen in chronicling stone circles and everything. Yeah. So, is Glastonbury still a place of pilgrimage? Is it a space of deep spiritual significance?
Yeah, it's incredibly spiritual. Yeah.
Good, right.
It's right down the line, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there you are.
Right down the ley line.
The definitive answer. Any more highlights from you, Mark?
Yeah, there's a few things in the old guide here. There's Los Piranhas comedy juggling. Yeah. Which I would have thought were mutually exclusive terms there. But the thing that is interesting most on Sunday, and I might even go to this, Sunday at 1 o'clock in the Gaia-sphere, whatever that is, British Collective of Prostitutes, not colon, I'm just putting a bit of grammar there, prostitution, and it's a workshop.
Right.
It's just some sort of prostitution. What do you do? Just turn up and go, stand over there, ask him for some money, sleep with him, go and do it again. You know, I can't imagine that's a particularly long workshop.
Well, we'll see, shall we, later on?
Yeah.
You can try it with me.
Desperate Men and Women's on at 1 as well, so I'm torn between the two.
Yes, obviously it is. It's a real quandary, that one, isn't it? Hey, Julian, we're going to play another of your new songs. This is Try, Try, Try. So tell us something about this.
This has a story, this song.
Really?
Yeah. It's
long one, short one.
You've got to listen to the lyrics.
You've got to tell us what it is, though.
No, this is...
It's not a guesswork rather than the story.
No, this is... I really like this song, actually. This is the prettiest song I've written in a long while, even though it's a real down song.
Right. Is that it?
It's for my mother.
What is the story?
No, that was the story.
No, that's the story, really.
Just it's pretty.
Great story.
Yeah, and I wrote it.
What happens at the end?
I walk off into the sunset, but without the girl.
Okay. Great story. December the 22nd, it starts at Cardiff University, and playing in Bristol, Cambridge, Brighton, Wolverhampton, Manchester, Liverpool, Glasgow, Leeds, Nottingham, and London, Shepherd.
3 hours. 3 hours I'm playing.
A 3 hour show?
Yeah.
But 2 hours of that is dancing, isn't it, before you...
Dancing, cartwheeling, and just canoodling with the front row.
Okay, that's...
Yeah, that sound, it's like quite faint. I don't know if anyone can hear it at home, but it's going... Can you hear that? It's Julian's brain.
Actually, it is customary in these things for a tractor to reverse past us as we do in the programme, but that hasn't happened tonight, sadly. But anyway, so Mark, I mean, what are you looking forward to? It's the eve of the festival. It kicks off tomorrow, and what's going to be your highlight?
Getting back to the hotel, I should imagine. Nice night's sleep and facing everyone bright and fresh tomorrow.
Right,
possibly. And of course, we should mention that we are doing the Channel 4 coverage.
Are we?
Tomorrow. Did you not know?
No.
Oh.
Okay, but we'll give it a shot. I dare say. And Julian, thanks a lot. Hey!
It was a pleasure, you know.
Yeah, fine. Okay. It was, indeed, yeah. I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you
he's scaring me now.
What? He's scaring you? Don't let him bother you. It's all right. He's a pussycat.
What?
I'll tell you who's missed a real opportunity. Sean Locke.
Yeah.
Your friend.
Who's on? Rock's on at some point over the weekend.
He is. I mean, I hate to sort of finish off the programme on another urination motif, but have you heard about his invention, the woozer?
Yeah, I did hear it when he did it on the show.
It's sort of it's women's rubber knickers with a spout down the middle, so that they too can enjoy the joys of peeing up the wall. So I think he's missed it, hasn't he? Because Glastonbury'd sell thousands of those things, wouldn't he?
Well, he's here. Maybe he's brought thousands.
Maybe he possibly has. Right. Okay, then that's more or less it for us from Glastonbury. I'd like to thank Pat Coop and Cheese, who's the programme. I'm not sure that grass skirt is him, and also our technical crew. That's Andy, Tim, and Ian.
That grass skirt's been smoked now.
Was it?
Yeah, it's disappeared.
Oh, right. Fair enough. We're going to finish with James, who played it, and I saw him here, was it last year? Yeah, I'm sure it was. And I watched him from the side of the stage. There's got to be some perks to this job, especially if you had to share a tent with the boy Lard, who's not here this year. He's a rock and roll punk rebel, he may well be, but someone's got to stay behind and water the bonsai.
That he's not here.
We're all disappointed that the boy Lard is not here. Hey up, Arcade. Get some shut-eye now.
Mark Radcliffe, missing you already.